Hey
Hey guys.
everyone,
Hey, welcome.
how's it going?
Good. How you
Thank
doing?
you, Ryan. Welcome to you too.
Thanks. Um, I
Here we
tried to
are.
be
Yeah, you made it.
here.
You made
Mm-hmm.
it, and you're here. And the owl is here too. I'm
Mm-hmm.
super excited for that.
People were asking what the owl's name was last stream, and I mentioned that people were asking about the owl's name, but I didn't
Oh,
actually give the name. So, anyways, you're the host today, right?
yes,
All right, let's
and
do
I don't
this.
know the owl's name,
Me neither.
so I can't. Nobody knows
I
the
was
owl's
just gonna leave it on the fact that
name.
no one commented on what the owl's name was because we weren't sure, and then like still not give it and just continue on.
Wow.
The
So
most part.
does that mean the owl needs a name?
I guess.
Someone needs to name the owl. We are taking contributions to
He's not
name the owl.
lonely. He's not the lonely owl that's only doing paperwork. Remember, I on the stream I said that's not what I do with. I don't make my owl do that.
Kayla says we should name him Waddles. I agree. Jesse says oof.
Oh,
Oh,
ooh. That's
okay.
okay. You
We're
can
in the
say
wrong spot, apparently. We just found out from our illustrious producer.
there you go.
Now we should be in the right place.
You're perfect.
So, yeah, welcome, you guys, to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the show where we take your questions and challenges. You just go ahead and post them in the chat, and we help out in any way we possibly can. We're not professional therapists or anything like that, and the material we have isn't a substitute for professional counseling. We just want to help out in any way we can to help you through on the journey through your challenges. And yeah, we just want to pull up alongside you as friends and love on you a little bit and offer some perspective and encouragement. We appreciate all you guys. You guys have such wonderful questions, and it's great that you have the courage to put those on here. And
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know about you, Ryan, but there were times I would listen to radio shows where, people would call in and ask for advice or ask for answers to certain questions. And I
Mm-hmm.
never, ever once called into any of those shows, ever.
Sure.
But I gained so much perspective and wisdom from
Sure.
listening through other people's questions.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
so I was so thankful for all those people that asked questions on those shows
Yeah.
because I never did, but I learned so much just from listening. So
Mm-hmm.
for all of you who post your challenges and your issues on here, thank you so much because I don't know if you realize how important that is to so many people who experience these streams and later and everything. So thank you guys so
Yeah.
very much. But with me is Static P, aka Ryan. I
What's
am
up?
Joe, aka CDVNL. Our illustrious producer is Jesse, and he's the one who makes it all happen behind the scenes, and he looks really amazing. If you've never seen him before, oh, one day, oh, all you got to do is go to our Twitch stream, and
Mhm.
you'll actually get to see Jesse,
That's true.
and you
If you
will
don't know
like
that we
it.
stream on Twitch, we do. We stream us, generally Jesse, but sometimes me as well. We both stream together on Saturdays and Sundays. Jesse streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Is that right, Jesse? All right, yeah. Anyways, you can go check out their stream at twitch.tv/BSS underscore streaming. Or no, there's no underscore. Is there? I don't remember.
I don't
I'll pull up
remember
the
either.
link.
Yeah, pull up the link and post the link. I'm gonna post the link to the forums, the Don't Worry
All
Wednesday
right.
forums here.
So
So if you have a question and we don't get to it, uh, we will do our best to get to it next time.
don't
Um,
click that right now. Well, click it and then subscribe to us. But if you click it right now, we're hosting someone apparently. So it's going to get really confusing because there's going to be two audio streams at once. There you
right?
go. We've posted it 3 times. You should click on any one of those links.
Oh
Pick a
my
link.
gosh, and
They're the
it did
same.
have an underscore, so you were right the first time.
Cool.
And there is the link to the Don't Worry Wednesday section of our website, bss.studio. That's where all the questions that we answer, and some of the ones we don't get to, they end up in this area. And when we have kind of a slow start getting rolling, that's where we draw from to kind of get started. And also, we do want to handle all of your questions. And so, yeah, if we don't get you tonight because of the activity here, no need to worry, because it's Don't Worry Wednesday, and just post them there and we will get to them at some point. So, but it looks like Kayla is starting us off tonight.
And we have some on the forums as well. Quite a few, if I remember correctly.
Well, we've got 2 that we didn't get to last week that are sitting there in the forums.
Okay, yes.
One of them is from Haley Hepworth, and the other is from Pork Chop GMX. So I should ask, is either Haley Hepworth or Pork Chop GMX here tonight?
I haven't seen them yet, so they might join us later.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All is well.
So that's right on. So yeah, so we will start with Kayla. Kayla, thank you so much for contributing. And Kayla's question says, okay, so I'll start. I've recently become really close with someone, and we've been getting along great. We love each other so much, but for no reason whatsoever. But Dad has cut us off. I've been recently extremely depressed because I really loved this person and he really loved me, and my dad wouldn't even try to get to know him. So that definitely can be super duper frustrating. He didn't even give him a chance, she says. So, ouch. So Ryan, do you have any? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You did say that your dad cut you 2 off, and I'm curious on how that is the case. Is this an online relationship type deal, or is it something like a person at school? Because I'm just looking for a little bit more information there. A little bit confused.
Yes, online, she says.
Online. All right, cool. That makes sense now.
So, right, yeah, you got anything, Ryan?
Yeah. I mean, from your father's perspective, I suppose I can understand. I think that your father's intention is to protect you, and you know that. And sometimes, yes, I think that, would it be right for your father to take time to get to know the person before he makes a judgment? Yes, of course. I think that's naturally true. But maybe he has his thoughts about the person. He knows a little bit about them, and he's decided that he wants to cut you off. Or maybe he has nothing, but he wants to cut you off because he feels that you're not currently in the right situation to go into a relationship. You're not, whether it be not old enough or just not at the right place in life. I'm sure that he's trying to make the right choice here for you. Does that mean it's the right choice? I don't know. I can't say. I don't think it is, but at the same time, maybe he knows better than I. So I think it's important to realize that your dad isn't trying to hurt you, and he's not. And it's not necessarily that. It's probably not even that he dislikes the person or he's not giving that person a chance, but more so that he doesn't want you to be in that relationship right now. I never said a love relationship. We're just really good friends. Okay. Oh, okay. That's fine. Anyways, so I'm just saying it's important to keep that in mind. And it's going to be okay. I'll tell you that there are many things that block us from different friendships or relationships or whatever in life. Sometimes we meet somebody and then we lose contact with them. We start doing different things. We move on. There's lots of different friends that we find in life, and most of them don't stick around for all of it, and that's pretty normal. I think when we're young, each relationship is in a way a little bit more impactful because we haven't had as many yet. And because we're in an environment like when we're at school or whatever, we only know so many people. So, we cherish each friendship, which we do when we grow up, but it's just a little bit different. He said, "I don't want to move on. He was different. He was special." I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, what you can do, here's what you can do. You can eventually contact him again. It's important to respect your father's wishes. And if I would not go behind your father's back and try to contact this person, but good friends are understanding, and I don't know if you can find time to tell him what's going on, or her, whatever it is. You can, yeah, he said he, okay. So tell him that it was, that you're not going to be able to talk to them, but yes. And he said, you made an agreement that you could speak to him when you turn 16. So in about a year. Fair enough. And so it's not like you'll never get to see them again. So that's good. I think that, just keep that in mind, and your friendship will will stop its break. It will continue once you turn 16. And I think that's something that happens in life, regardless of people forcing it on us. I have many friends where I've stopped talking to them for like a year, and then I start talking to them again for a while. That happens. So that doesn't mean that your friendship is not going to be there once you finally are able to talk to them again. It won't go downhill, and it won't be ruined. So just keep that in mind. If they're a good friend, then once you come back to them, everything will be okay. Yeah, this next year is going to be really hard. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I can imagine. It will be tough, but there are a lot of things we have to wait for in life. In fact, most things we seem to have to wait for. So patience is super important. But yeah, all I can do is console you and say, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. No person in your life will ever complete you or make you whole or make you happy. A lot of those things are up to you. It's a lot about how you see the world and how you decide to feel living in it. So just keep that in mind. You've got plenty of reasons to be joyful and happy. And so don't let this get to you. Like I said, if you're just patient, within a year's time, you'll be able to contact them again and pick up your friendship. You can understand that it's not what you want, and there's nothing I can do about that. But a lot of times in life, we don't get what we want, but that doesn't mean it's for the worse. Sometimes not getting what we want is actually better in the long run. And I'm sure this too might prove itself something worthwhile, something that happens in life, and you'll look back on it later and say, I can pull something good out of this situation. Even if I would never do that to my kids. But it may be more than that. So anyways, that's all I really have on this, but maybe Joe has a little bit more, something to give.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, Ryan definitely knows a lot more about online relationships than I do. I never got to experience much in terms of a relationship over the internet like that. But I can kind of understand, because I'm a dad, and Ryan said, I'll never do that to my kids. And I remember saying that when I was, before I had kids, and then when you have kids, and then you're like, oh, you want to do everything you can to protect them. So there's probably something going on from your dad's point of view that you may not quite you might not quite understand his point of view, but I can imagine. I mean, you've been on before and talked about what him and your mom are going through, I believe, and so he may distrust relationships in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know,
Yeah.
so just the very fact that it's a relationship might automatically put up a red flag in this season of life
Mm-hmm.
for him. And then there's also a possibility that, being of a different generation, there may be a distrust of online relationships. I mean, a lot of people, it's kind of funny. My mother-in-law will, she'll kind of flip out over things like online relationships. And, but it just seems like the generations that grew up without the internet, there's this fear of the unknown in those situations, you know and so it just kind of happens that way where we don't necessarily trust what's going on. We don't want to put our information out there because we're afraid there might be online stalkers and stuff like that, and they might come and figure out who we are and where we live and get us and all these kinds of different things, or there's all kinds of possible fears going on there. So,
If I might
um,
add something there, is that all right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. One thing I just thought about, I had plenty of online relationships when I was growing up,
Mm,
um, and they turned out very well. All three of them, all three of them. And by what I mean is they turned out well is that they all three of them lasted several years, and they were very good and very healthy. However, they're not perfectly healthy. One of them was pretty bad, but um, I still learned a lot from every one of them. But one thing is you don't ever want to leave, as a rule of thumb for a parent, you don't want to leave two kids in the room together alone.
mm,
And as a rule of understanding, online relationships are literally that pretty much, at any time, especially now with phones, you
mm,
just whip out your phone, you two are in a room alone. No one can see what you're talking about. Everything's a secret.
mhm.
Um, and so I can totally understand.
It's a public secret though, because it's all stored
Yes, but
on the
it's stored.
interweb.
Right.
So,
Yes, exactly. But I mean, it used to not be. But when my first relationship, none of it was really stored. But my mom got in there every once in a while, and she said hi to my girlfriend. She was very supportive of it, which was surprising. But it's because she had a certain amount of respect and trust and hope and faith, I suppose, that everything was well. Um, but um, not everything in the world is so innocent. And any one of those relationships that I've had could have turned what you don't want to see when two kids get in a room alone. So I think that could be a very big reason on your father's part. Um, anyways, sorry. I just want to add that kind of discernment there. Go on,
sure.
Joe.
Yeah, well, Kayla just put in here, the problem is my dad has zero trust in me. I don't
Mm,
blame him though. So, yeah, so if your dad doesn't trust you, well, I mean, that's something that you can definitely rebuild. I mean, it's very interesting,
it is something
how
you can rebuild.
relationships go. A lot of times we get hit with something, and we feel like we hit rock bottom. Maybe we do something that causes the distrust in another person, you know and so then it's easy to think, that, oh no, now the world's ended. Now it's all falling apart. It's never going to be the same, and maybe it won't be the same. But wounds can heal, and they can be stronger than they ever were before the wound. So if there's something that happened between you and your dad that has now caused some distrust in your relationship, there is a way that can be healed. And then you can be stronger as a result of going through the process of the wound and healing, and that's one of the things that I know we've talked about before, is that healing always comes through forgiveness. So when you and your dad can forgive each other, that's when the healing can begin, for whatever distrust is happening there. And that goes for any type of situation where any one of us is having a struggle in a relationship with somebody. The first step to healing that wound is forgiveness. And also, the person who forgives first, they're the ones who's going to heal first. So because when you forgive somebody, it's not for their healing, but for your own. And then when you are healed from that, then it gives them, maybe you will need to be the starter in this. And from there, it gives the other person permission to forgive you and heal as a result of that. So some of this may not necessarily be all that relevant in this particular situation, but since you mentioned a distrust issue, I figured it'd be appropriate to mention it. But
so are you saying that forgiveness can increase the trust, or that it's a stepping stone in order to start building
both
trust again?
Either or both. It can't, maybe that's all it takes to restore the trust.
Okay.
And depending on the situation, maybe it's what it takes to begin the journey to, trust again. So, but that's always one of the main components in the healing of a relationship issue is forgiveness. So boy, it's a tough spot that you're in, Kayla, and I sure hope that it'll all turn out okay. I know a year can seem like a long time, but it sounds to me like you're about 15. So you've had 15 years of years going faster and faster each year. I've noticed the older I get, the faster each year goes. So this will probably be the fastest year yet. Before you know it, it's going to be done.
That's true.
Be there. So, and if I sure hope this is okay to do, Kayla, but I was on bss.studio the other day, and I was in one of the topics where you had posted a cover, and there was a link to the SoundCloud. I'm going to post
Moon
it
Rising?
here. The Moon Rises.
Moon Rises, yeah.
That's yes. So good. I was just absolutely blown away, Kayla, by your performance on that song. So I'm posting it here for everybody to go directly to, because you did such an amazing job. It was beautiful, and I hope you continue to contribute stuff like that. So we can all experience it, because seriously, I was tearing up when I was hearing you sing that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, she's got a powerful, amazing voice.
Yes, very powerful. You've got a lot. You can tell you have a lot of breath support, because you can really, really, you can belt it, but control it. And it takes more energy to control it.
Yeah.
Usually. And so oh my gosh, like fantastic, Kayla. So thank you for contributing that to bss.studio, and please continue to post things. And man, I hope someday we get to work together on some projects, because man, wow, what a tremendous talent you have.
One more thing, I suppose, on the topic is that for building trust, one of the most important requirements for building trust with somebody is to show them that you trust them. When you trust, like if you don't trust somebody, their ability to trust you is just not there. um, if, cause like I remember many situations where I simply just put faith in people and I noted them as trustworthy, even though I didn't know them. I just said, yeah, you're a trustworthy person. Whatever, I can trust you, and that made them able to trust me. Um, so giving someone the benefit of the doubt, just allowing yourself to trust them, a lot of times helps them to start trusting you. Um, and so then when you trust each other, that allows for open conversations where you can start moving forward and making agreements and so on. Like if you are in a position where your father is not trusting you for whatever reason, and I know you know that reason, you can, if you trust your father and let your father know that you trust him and that you're going to respect his decision, by doing that, that opens up his trust in you. And at some point, as that trust is growing, you can then start to say, hey, half a year later, and say, hey, like, is it all right if I talk to him now? Like, um, you know, rather than waiting a whole year, maybe you can get that. Maybe you can get leave. maybe you can bargain with him, because then at that point you're both working from a standpoint of I trust this person. So just work on building that trust up, and I think that that will give you the ability to make some changes to the situation. But that starts with trusting them and trusting they're trying to make the right decision for you when they're in doing what they're doing. Um, trust that he loves you and so on. So let him know that you trust him and tell him verbally that you trust him and you're going to do as he says. Because again, that's what will allow him to start trusting you.
Yeah.
Because people trust themselves. And if you trust that person, they're going to be like, oh, this person trusts me. That means they're probably right, which means I can trust them. It's weird psychology, but that's how it works. People generally trust themselves. They agree with themselves. Otherwise, that would be weird if you didn't agree with yourself. Sometimes we don't, and we have an internal conflict. But
and that's really tough.
Yeah. But people generally just agree with themselves. They trust themselves. They believe themselves to be true, even whether they are or not. And if you believe them, that means that you're on their side. And if you're on their side, then they can trust you because they can trust themselves. It's like weird cycle, weird reverse circle thing going on there. Mm-hmm. But that's how it works. So you can play to that psychology. You can play to that. But it's not just about manipulating somebody. It's about growing the relationship, honestly. Yep. And that's done through give and take. That's done through allowing them to have your trust, and considering them a trustworthy person. So anyways.
Well, and it's not like as a parent, we don't look at our kids generally and prohibit them from doing something or have them do something because we just want to be big mean people and right. Like hey, I'm bigger than you, so I want to be in charge of you, and so blah blah blah. There's a reason, and it's generally to protect your children, or for their good or for their benefit. I can remember one time when one of my boys was getting some sort of vaccination shot, and we were at the doctor's office, and he looked over as he was getting the shot with this look like, how could you let them do this to me? Like, because they stuck a needle in his arm and it hurt and it was painful. Why would you let them hurt me? You're my parent. You're supposed to protect me. And it's like, I don't, but, we want you to be healthy. And this is one of the things that we're doing to help you be healthy, and so I'm sorry, but you can't explain that. It's just like, no, that hurts and you allowed it, and so like, so depending on the perspective, there's something going on that, he sees a possibility for you to be hurt in some way. And I'm sure he's just trying to protect you, and or try to help you learn something. There's different dimensions of that as well, where it's like, we try to, guide our children along the right path. And sometimes we don't even know as a parent necessarily, we're trying to figure it out too.
Yeah.
And we're just doing the best we can, but but we're all people, and but I gotta hand it to you, Kayla. The very fact that you would have this person block you so you would not be tempted to break your promise to your father.
That's very impressive.
Like Sophia said, that is amazing respect.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yep.
Way to
And
go.
so the very fact that you have that level of respect for your father, that you are absolutely on the right track, and this can only go good for you in the long run. So yeah, I sure hope that you can stay strong through it and continue. And man, if you're ever getting emotional, put some of that energy into some singing and put it on the website. I would love to hear it. So because yeah, wow. If and that goes for anyone who is artistic in any way. If you're going through an emotional challenge, when you can channel that into your art form, oh my gosh, it will be some of the best material that you create, because you will put your heart behind it. And like artists, musicians, all of these different genres. I mean, when someone is going through an emotional challenge and they just throw their soul at what they're doing, it's beautiful things happen. So yes. But anyway, thank you again for the question, Kayla. We really appreciate you being here, and man, hopefully some of the stuff we said can help. But you can make it, and you're awesome. So
cool. So what's next?
Yeah. Sophia's just she's validating what I said. Thank you, Sophia. Joe, I've read stuff I forgot I wrote while going through Rough Emotions, and it was my best writing ever. I've always wondered why it was so powerful. Yes, that's absolutely true. Oh, Kayla, yes, go have some dinner.
Oh, awesome. Well, enjoy dinner.
Yes.
Much love.
And thanks for coming. And if you get done and we're still here, come on back. We'd love to have you again. So
come on down.
But yeah, Sophia, I totally can relate to what you said, because there was some years when I was going through some tremendous emotional struggles, and there's probably about a 6-month period where it was just emotionally draining and tough. And being a musician, that's where I channeled it, and I wrote some of the best music I've ever written. Unfortunately, it was all written for a previous band that I was in, and so copyrights are owned by other people, because I just wrote the music and they wrote the lyrics. So, but since we disbanded, none of that material is being used anyway. But yeah, that was, oh my gosh, some of the best stuff I've ever written, ever. And also, the song that is next for my release here at some point, the one that's in progress now, that was also written in the midst of emotional turmoil. And I think it turned out pretty good. There are other people who think it turned out pretty good, and hopefully you guys will like it once it's released. But yeah.
It's awesome. I love it. Love this one.
Cool.
So I think we have one from Summer.
Do we?
I could be wrong here. Or it could just be that Slightly Above Average Joe made a message on it.
Oh, in the
yeah, is that one we covered before? Yeah.
If you sort them by start date, you'll see the ones at the top are the ones from last.
Yes. Okay, that's
so
smart.
it's yeah. So if you do that, then you can see the ones from before.
Sort by.
Oh, but just now, let's see. Was it posted? So it was posted on the website and not in the chat this time?
It was on the website, but it was from Jesse, so I think that it was an old one.
Okay. Cool. Well, we do have one that was posted just now. Oh, Summer says, pretty sure you're wrong. LOL.
Yeah, pretty sure I read that. Yeah. Yeah, because as I read through it, I was like, this is really familiar. I'm pretty sure we did this one before. And then I was like, I think that it was just got commented on inside the actual site or website.
Right. So Chris Chu, though, has a question.
Oh, Chris Chu's here. Yeah. Hey, welcome. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, Chris. But Chris's question is, how do I tell someone I don't want to be their friend without being a jerk? That is a very tactful issue.
Yes.
Ryan, you want to start this one?
Sure. I think that I'm kind of curious as to what the situation is going on where you don't want to be their friend. But you can't make everybody in your life your friend. And sometimes some people you just don't want to be around them. And I get that. One thing that I'm always very mindful of is I don't want to hurt people's feelings, even if it's my enemy, which I don't really have any, but even if I did, even when people are confronting me in my face and being jerks and I just want to get them out of my face, tactfulness is very important. I think it's awesome that you're worried about it. I think it's actually very healthy that you are concerned about being tactful and making sure that the person isn't too hurt or damaged by your words. So props to you. Anyways, so one thing I guess that you can do is simply remove yourself without saying much of anything. Another thing you can do is just be very honest and soft. A lot of times when I have something I need to bring up with somebody, I begin, I don't know if this will work in your current situation, but I begin by just having a normal conversation with them, bringing up anything besides what we're going to actually be talking about. And then at some point throughout the conversation, make that switch into what I've actually come for. Because it opens up the conversation. Rather than starting out with the issue, you lead into the issue with something friendly. Anyways, that is a hard one because rather than trying to bring up an issue, you're just trying to tell them that you don't want to be their friend, or perhaps that you just don't want to be around them. And I'll tell you, sometimes there's no tactful way to do something. Sometimes there's no way to do something without getting hurt or hurting somebody or getting hurt yourself. And one of the things you can do is allow yourself to bear the pain rather than somebody else. So you have multiple options. What you can do is just bear with the scenario and try to slowly detach yourself with this person, get away from this person over time. And just instead of ever telling them that you don't want to be their friend, just deal with them. And then eventually, as time goes on, be around them less and less until they have no reason to be around you or no desire. Sometimes you have to bear with it and decide you're going to continue being their friend, even though you don't really like them. Just because they're in your life and they need your help probably more than you realize. And so you bear the pain of dealing with them for their benefit. That's kind of what love is in a lot of situations. Love is sacrifice. Love is being able to deal with all the burdens of another person and trying to help them through it, even though that's not fun and exciting. It can be miserable. It can be terrible, annoying, staying up way late into the day, into the night, and waking up super early in the morning, or maybe not even going to bed just because you're trying to help one person not hurt themselves, or to help them become a better person, whatever it is. And you know, but sometimes, like I said, there's tactfulness is all about trying to find the right way to say something, right? And it's a talent. It's something that you learn through practice. But again, sometimes there's no way to say something without hurting somebody, especially when it's something like, hey, I don't want to be your friend, because that hits on a personal level. That hits on, you know, what's wrong with me that this person doesn't want to be my friend, because that's going to be clearly what's going to come to this person's head. Why doesn't this person want to be my friend? Okay, why don't they like me? What's wrong with me? You know, that's naturally what's going to be going through their head. And so is there a tactful way to get across? Maybe if you can explain away the idea that it's not them and that it really is you, but I can't quite see how that could be the case. Maybe you do have a reason there that is like that. Yeah, so it is hard. Sometimes you really do need to get away from people, though. Certain people are bad for you. Mm-hmm. And if you're not in a position where you know that you can handle that person and help them while not at the same time regressing into a terrible person yourself, like sometimes you know, like, okay, this person is bad influence. But what I can do is I can ignore the bad influence side of everything they're doing and be the person that stands my ground and help them to come to the other side and start being a good person again, right? I can do that for them. But if you know you don't have that strength to do that for yourself, that you won't be influenced by them, or that you're, you know, whether it be just changing how you act or maybe your emotions, maybe they say mean things that you're sick and tired of hearing. You know, if you don't have that emotional strength, that emotional ability to stand your ground and know who you are and not be swayed by anything they say or do. If you don't have that, then you're in a position where you do need to get away from that person, because then you know for your own health, you don't want to be negatively impacted by them. So you do have to get away from them. And in that case, like I said, being tactful, there's only really one way I can think to do that, and that is to slowly end the relationship by distance, by not being around them so much. But a lot of times, like if you're going to school, if you have like band together or something, you all sit at the same lunch table, that's pretty much impossible. You know, without actually having a face-to-face confrontation, and in which you'll have to decide, do I want to just hurt their feelings? Or one option is to learn to have more stable control over yourself, and try to take this as an opportunity to say, I'm going to learn how to become strong enough to not let this person get to me by having them in my life. So there's that opportunity to grow there, but sometimes you just need to change your friends. Sometimes friends are bad and they're not really friends, and you should just like get rid of them. And in that case, you hurt their feelings. But guess what? Feelings are emotions, and emotions don't last forever. Mm-hmm. So whether that be on your side or their side, either of you can get over it. The best thing to do, though, is to be super honest and super respectful. And what I mean is this. You go to that person and you lay it all out on the table and you tell them exactly why you are doing what you are doing, so that they can understand you. And so that they have the opportunity to take the advantage of everything that you said and grow from it. Because if you just break off the relationship and say, hey, I'm not your friend anymore, we can't be friends, I just can't do this anymore, we're not friends anymore, that leaves them with nothing. That leaves them with no ability to learn no ability to grow, and then they're just hating themselves, hating you, trying to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to them and you are extremely honest and you say, hey, I'm trying to find a tactful way to do this. I'm trying to not hurt your feelings because I don't want to hurt your feelings. It's the last thing I want to do. But this is my situation. And, like you just lay everything out on the table for them. You don't try to be mean. You don't try to pin everything against them and make them feel like they're an awful person, but you tell them about yourself and how you're feeling and what's going on in your head. You say, this is what's going on in my head, and I don't want it to be this way. If we can change that, that'd be great. If we can improve this relationship, that'd be great. But for me right now, I feel like this relationship is destroying me, and I don't know what to do. So I'm letting you know, and I don't know if I should be your friend anymore, or maybe we can change some things. Being honest, being upfront about the problems, putting everything on the table, holding nothing back. That's, while it doesn't mean that you won't hurt their feelings, because you probably will, at least you're letting them to come to understand why you're doing what you're doing. And then, because through understanding is how we learn to, a lot of times, forgive. Through understanding is how we learn to grow. Through understanding is how we learn to fix the problem. And through understanding, we can learn to not hold a grudge or to be mad at a person. We can go, oh, yeah, I can see why they not want to be my friend after that. Like, I don't blame him. I'm not mad at him, but I am going to try to change something here,
But that response takes an incredible amount of maturity that a lot of people don't have.
Yes, for sure. For sure. You don't get to decide how they feel about it. Right. Ultimately, you can try to say all the right words, but at the end of the day, they get to decide how they feel about it. And hopefully they make the right choices. Hopefully they decide on doing the right things and trying to either fix what they have or just grow stronger from it all. But anyways, that's all I have, which was a lot of different things. Sometimes you decide to go with a route of love and bear with it. Sometimes even through love, that person's not healthy for you. And so you need to distance yourself. Sometimes distance is something that's slow and subtle. And sometimes it's a face-to-face with a very open response. A very, very honest and open conversation that you try to remain calm through, never getting your emotions tied in a knot and then thrown all out at once, like never losing control of your emotions, just being very calm, being very honest. I think this is what's going on, So that's the best I've got. Maybe Joe has some other ideas. There's other comments he'd like to make. So yeah, please do, Joe.
Well, I love what you said. And I'm always, personally, because of my personality, I usually hesitate to, go and confront the person and tell them that I'm not going to be their friend anymore. Because I guess I just, I shrink away from that type of a confrontation a lot of times. Sure. And maybe that's an area where I don't have courage, or I have been through that before. There was a time when I had some really close friends, and I remember telling them that I wasn't going to be friends with them anymore. I was, and this was actually a band that I was in, and I was like, I'm not going to, I've got this and this going on in my life, and I'm not going to be here anymore. And and then they're like, well, we could still be friends. I'm like, well, I'm not going to really be hanging around because I've got a bunch of other stuff going. So I'm not, basically I told them I'm not going to be their friend anymore. And, it really, really damaged. I mean, it was a break that, none of us speak anymore. I don't know if there, I mean, at this point it's been years, but you know, I who knows? I don't know. I don't harbor any ill feelings toward them anymore. And there were some things going on. There were definitely um there were character flaws in all of us, really. I mean, I had just as many as they did. But then as I was trying to move forward and fix some of my character flaws, they weren't to
Sure.
that point yet. And so
Mm-hmm.
so I basically moved on from that, and it was a very hurtful thing that I did. It was cold and heartless the way I did it.
And cold is the worst.
And yep.
I hate
So it
being
was
cold.
uh,
I'd rather be warm.
you'd rather be
I'd rather be hot.
if Ryan could live on the sun,
I would try.
that's his favorite planet.
Yes. My favorite planet's the sun. The sun's not a planet. Not ruining my dreams.
But so I've been there before, and so now and like Ryan was saying, it really kind of depends on the type of situation you have, with it, whether it's at school or however that works out. If there's a ton of people at your school, and this is where the context of your friendship mostly is, then it might be easy to just kind of start hanging around some different friends. I mean, and maybe you can just do it that way and kind of quietly just start hanging out with other people. I mean, and that could be a way that you do it. And then if they ask, you can be nice about it. You can, I will tell you that if you decide to tell them that you needed to distance yourself from them, try and do it with love in your heart. Because that comes across. If you do it with all the feelings of resentment in your heart, and you don't have to say a word. You don't have to say anything about your resentment, but oh boy, it will come across, because we pick up all of the nonverbal body language. It's amazing. There is so much in our eyes and in our posture and in our voice inflections and in our, like the way we move, all these kinds of different things.
Mm-hmm.
We are not even conscious of it, but the true feelings of our heart are shown through all that nonverbal communication. So the best thing you can do is, if you're distancing yourself from this person, like you said in your question, you don't want to be friends. Well, actually, your question was, how do I tell someone I don't want to be their friend without being a jerk? I guess it depends on why you don't want to be their friend. If you don't want to be their friend because, like Ryan was saying, there's some flaws going on, and it's a person that you need to distance yourself from, because we do become like the people we hang around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do need to get away from bad influences, whether they're
Yes.
Sometimes they're just the videos we're watching on YouTube.
Yep. If you hang around dogs, you get fleas, as the old Southern saying goes. Hang around winners, you'll be a better winner. Hang around losers, you'll be a better loser. Hang around whiners, you'll be a better whiner. Hang around broke people, you'll be a better broke person. Like there's all those different things. So we become like the people we hang around. And if they have traits that you don't want in your life, then absolutely you should distance yourself from them. So, but do it without resenting them. We can love somebody from a distance. And I would, I mean, that's kind of what we're called to do in this world, is to love others, and it really makes things better. Sometimes we distance ourselves from people, and it doesn't mean we don't love them. It just means that, they have traits that we don't want to assimilate, you know.
And
And
to look,
sometimes distancing ourselves from another person is because we love them. And maybe we want them to approach us. We distance it. That can happen too, where you distance yourself from a person, and so they approach you and ask why, and then you can tell them in a tactful, loving way the flaws, or I shouldn't say flaws, the things that you've noticed that you don't want as a part of your life, and that can guide them to change, because it's probably a blind spot for them. We all have blind spots, and sometimes it takes a drastic moment for us to wake up to our blind spot, so we know the things we need to fix. I just recently got finished with a book called The Miracle Morning. I think I mentioned it before. And he said in there's an email he sent to I think he sent it to 60 some people. And it was basically a question of, hey, if you could tell me any things that you see in me that are flaws, anything that you would like, that you think I should change, please tell me. And he sent that to like 60 some of his friends, or a bunch of his friends. And he said that as hard as that was to do, because it's scary. I mean, none of us want to get feedback of people saying what they don't like about us.
Yeah.
But the exercise, he said, first of all, it was humbling. So it created humility in his life. So that was the first thing. Second thing was, now he knew where he needed to change.
Right.
Because those were all blind spots for him. He didn't even realize that he was that way in those areas. And so now he knew what he could attack and change and grow in. But that's a really hard thing to do. And sometimes it takes somebody else telling us, hey, you know what? You're really kind of a jerk when it comes to that type of situation. And then we know about it, and then we can take steps to fix it, because I don't think anybody goes around saying, I just want to be a jerk. Sometimes people don't care, depending on your personality. But yeah. So, but I would recommend, like Ryan said, if you can do it quietly. If you have to confront, you can do it tactfully. You don't have to do it resentfully or bitterly, and it still probably will cause pain. But pain is a part of life.
Yep.
And I know on previous streams, what's that?
It's a very important part.
It is. It's extremely important. We don't like it, but it tells us when there's something wrong, and it's a signal to us of something that needs to be repaired, or something that needs to be healed, or something like that, And I absolutely love one of the things that Ryan has said, and that is embrace the awkward. It's going to be awkward to talk to this person about that. It's going to be very awkward. But the more you embrace an awkward situation, the more strong you will become. Emotionally, spiritually, all of that. I mean, you will grow by going through awkward situations and stressful situations like that. It's a proving ground for your own development, and it can really, really, really be a great chance for you to grow. But yes, I would definitely do it tactfully and with love in your heart, if you can. So that's probably about all I have about that. So,
and I just want to add one quick little note. By having love in your heart, that just means you want the best for them. You're saying it because you want the best for them, and you want the best for you. That's basically kind of what it means to have love in your heart. Is to want the best for them when you're saying it. Whatever you have to say.
Yep. Because that's what love is. Wanting the best for another person.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, yes, give them a hug. Just give them a hug. I'm letting you go, man. Sorry, we're not friends. While you're hugging them, I think that's not a bad option. Weird, and don't let them go until they actually understand. Like, no, I'm serious. When I let go of this hug, we aren't friends anymore. I'm not joking. I'm sorry. That'd be weird. What would happen? I mean, could you be mad at somebody? That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Welcome, Storied Legends.
Hey. Yeah.
I just saw the comment. First stream you're able to make.
Yeah.
Yes. Congrats. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. So were there any other questions that came up in this?
I don't think I saw any. Did anybody have anything? Did anybody say something that I might have missed?
I see there's a bunch of dorks around.
Yes, everyone's
calling themselves dorks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a good play. I definitely am a dork.
Yeah, I think we're all dorks.
I think Ryan's the only one here who's not, actually.
Okay. Whatever, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't.
Yeah, Princess says she thinks she might have a question.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well,
okay. Well, ask away, Princess.
Mm-hmm. And while you type, Rack Attack here will entertain us all. Go for it, Rack Attack. You got this. Do a skit. No, I'm just kidding.
Static dork.
Dorks are the most lovable people. Yeah, they can be pretty lovable.
This is me waddling in my seat.
Oh. You're welcome, Rag Attack. You're welcome. I don't know why I'm welcoming you since I'm not the one waddling. It's Joe, but.
Sophia, for those of us who sing, what range? I am, well, it depends. I'm not a bass. I'm somewhere between a tenor and a baritone.
I don't know. What am I?
You're probably in the same boat as me.
Probably. I think that's right.
We have a very similar range, except Ryan has taken many steps to expand his range to the point where he is not only a tenor, but a bass and a soprano.
I am trying, at least. I haven't sung in a long while.
It's definitely not singed.
I haven't singed since, well, I mean, I've been singing every week, but not as often as I should. I haven't been practicing as much as I should lately. So I need to do that.
How come you're not singing so much?
Yeah, I need to do that more. I need to spend more time doing that.
You spend so much time sitting next to the owl while you're hooting and not singing.
Yeah. Ooh. That's what owls sound like when they sing. It's very weird. Summer has a question as well. But please type it out. We'll let Princess go first, as you had said, but as you said, you will wait, but please do type it out so that we can at least put it on the forums or something, so we can have it for next time if you show up.
Yes.
Or something along those lines. Yeah.
Oh, see you later, Jean. Is it Jean or Jean?
Jean? I assumed it was Jean, but it could be Jean. All right, bye-bye.
Depends on where it is. Yeah. Yes, charge your battery. Is it possible for a girl to be in the tenor range? You sure?
Yeah, why not?
Absolutely. You know, there's a group of there's an a cappella group that I know of here in the local area here called Three Men and a Tenor. And the tenor is this really small guy, and he
oh yeah, I know those guys. Those guys are great.
He's kind of more of a soprano. Or an alto, probably. He's a very, very high tenor.
Oh, I see. That's great, though.
Yeah.
Wait, I think I'm thinking of 3 Men Nintendo. There's a group. It might not be the same guy, but the smallest guy is like the lowest. Probably is the same one you're talking about.
You mean, well, the small guy in this group is the high-pitched voice.
Oh no, I remember another group I went to see when I was a kid, and it was 3 guys, and they did like they did all sorts of different stuff. They did barbershop quartet songs, but they also did but there's only 3 of them, not 4. So triquet, what do you call it?
Trio. It's a trio.
There you go, barbershop.
Yes.
Thank you. But also, they did some popular songs. They did like Michael Jackson and stuff. They had some guys, one of them beatbox and all of that kind of stuff. But it was the little tiny guy. It was like 4'9" or something, and he did all of the low parts. It was great. It was a novelty act. It was well played. So anyways, it looks like Princess is getting the question now.
Yep, she's got part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
hey, Summer, don't retract your message. I mean,
I saw your question, Summer, and my favorite one is Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link for the original Nintendo.
I didn't see the question.
She said, "What's your favorite Zelda game?"
Oh, really? That's awesome.
You guys play Legend of Zelda games, and if so, what's your favorite one? And my favorite was the original, not the first Legend of Zelda, but Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link.
Mine was Link's Awakening, I believe, for Game Boy, and also I believe Nintendo.
There's also a link to the Past for Super Nintendo.
Oh, it might have been A Link to the Past. No, it wasn't Link to the Past. It was Link's Awakening.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a lot of Link games. I'm calling them Link games because if we call them Zelda, everyone gets confused and they think Zelda's the main character. Zelda's the princess.
The Ocarina of Time. I know that's a very popular one.
Yeah, my favorite one is the one that's actually about Zelda. Nice picture.
Yeah. Hey. Okay. Princess Yellow says, okay, so it's very easy for life to be busy, and there are many things that I try to juggle. And as of late, I've found that it's been hard to find a way to do what I need to and help people who have been asking for my help, and I want to help. But it's difficult when I have 3 events overlapping and they are all time sensitive. Yes. How can I find what to prioritize so that I am doing what's right for me and for others? Because they can be conflicting. Oh my goodness, Princess. That is like the question of the century.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
And it's super hard for a lot of us. But Ryan, what do you want to start us off, or you want me to start this one?
Oh, please do.
Okay. This actually goes very well with a book that I'm currently going through. It's called The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. And most of the books I read now are on Audible, so I listen to them rather than read them because I'm mostly driving all the time. And I'm not necessarily giving this book a recommendation because it kind of has some language in it. I'm like, really? You had to?
Why would you?
You put that in your book? Okay, I suppose
people do that because they think it makes them more relatable.
Oh yeah, well,
did you know that? It's weird.
Frankly, just saying cuss words to me, that just sounds kind of stupid. Personally, hey, I don't want to tell somebody how to live, but from my perspective, when someone just uses a whole bunch of, swear words, to me, it's just like, really? You couldn't thought of something better to say? Like, you just cut out like a whole bunch of people that could read your material are now not going to because they're offended.
Yeah. And it's like how a lot of parents don't want their kids to be reading that kind of stuff. So now you can't even give it to your like teenager. Well, whatever.
Yep. Hey, so anyway, yep. And you are right, Princess. Everyone has their own reasons for their language. Yes, very true. So at any rate, this one of the things this guy goes through a lot is prioritization, because his this book is mainly about how to increase your effectiveness. And that's different than efficiency. Efficiency is when you do any task really, really well, right? You do a task and you get through it fast, right? But effectiveness is that you're doing the right things that get the best results. And you're doing those well. Because with efficiency, you might be doing a task that doesn't get you a very good result, but you're doing that task very well.
Got it.
But effectiveness is when you're doing the things that get the best result, get the best bang for your buck, really. So, and I'm very early on in this book, so I haven't gotten, to a lot of the meat and potatoes of some of his strategies yet. But prioritization is a huge, huge issue for a lot of us. And sometimes you really got to look at it. So, one of the things, so let's see, you got 3 events overlapping. They are all time sensitive, and people are asking for your help. You want to help. One thing to keep in mind is that if you don't take care of yourself, if you neglect the things that keep you strong, you're not going to be very effective for anybody else. So there are things, you do need to do in order to keep yourself in good enough condition to help these people. So that's kind of where it starts. So start with that inner circle and look at yourself and look at your life and look at, okay, how do I feel on a day-to-day basis? Do I get adequate rest? Do I get, am I eating okay? All these different things, am I optimized physically, with food, water, and rest and all that kind of stuff, so that's step one. You kind of look at those things, right? Because if you don't optimize yourself nutritionally, and I'm not saying you have to be a fanatic about that, but it would be good to make good choices when you're picking what you put into your body.
I'm pretty sure she does well on that.
Okay, cool. Because if you put junk in, then
get junk out.
You're just going to be tired and you're not going to be very effective. So that's the first thing. And then next thing, for a priority, like if you have all these things and it's tough to pick, if you're already doing things that optimize your own performance and optimize your own ability to help others, then sometimes you can let some of those things slide in order to serve other people. However, it really, really helps if you have some type of overarching purpose or goal or something that you want to do with your life, because then things can kind of line up. I know that, trying to think of how to say this. There's really no other way to say it. So for me personally, an example, like my number one priority is, how am I doing in relation to my creator? That's like the first thing that comes to my mind anytime, I'm faced with a thing. Like, it's like, okay, am I cultivating my relationship with God? And so that's kind of the first step. And then when I look at the options I have on the table, I'm like, how does this fit into that number one priority for me? And then next I have my family, and then I have the BSS community and, in our company here. And then I have my job that creates an income, so there's all these kind of different things. And that's kind of the order, where I have, what am I doing for my relationship with God? Then what am I doing to serve my family? And what am I doing to serve Black Static and Swerve? And then I know that my job is always kind of running in the background, and I can do that and do other things while I do that. So those are kind of like how I run things. So, but it kind of flows from that. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but if you're faced with trying to choose who to help, I think probably whichever situation seems the most dire would probably be the one to start with, like which one, depending on, I mean, you can go through the relationship status, you have with, who's closer to you, who's not, and then also factor in how much of an emergency is this, how much is this person hurting. There are different factors in there, like if this is an emergency situation, someone is going to have really, really big problems if you don't help them, then it might be fairly urgent for you to help them, and if it's just, well, this guy is having trouble tying his shoe, well, maybe that can kind of come a little later in the priority list. So you kind of gauge based on urgency for that particular person. How much of an impact is it going to have on them for you to help them? So, but don't, if you do that and then neglect yourself, then eventually there's going to be none of you left and you won't be effective for anybody anymore. So always maintain that in there and make sure that you take time to cultivate your own capabilities, I guess, so don't ever lose sight of that. And then just go based on urgency, I would say, and it depends on your purpose. It depends on your priorities. It depends on all those other things that you've preset, and you get to decide. That's one of the beautiful things. You get to decide your priorities, and then all things can kind of flow out of that. So maybe it takes, stepping back and figuring out, okay, what do I want my life to be? What do I want to do here? What do I want, how do I want things to go here? And then from that standpoint, things clear up a little bit and you can say, oh, then it's in line to do this first and then this next. And if I have time, I can do this. A good book is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. That it's kind of a bigger book, but it really, really helps you figure out, the priority. He's got basically a 4 square priority, and it's like things that are urgent and important. And that's like the highest priority right there, urgent and important. Most of the things we do, though, fall in the category of, well, most of the things that are good for us to do fall in the category of important, but not necessarily urgent. So they're important things to do, but they're not like pounding on us, saying, do this, do this, do this, Then things that we typically do the most of are urgent, but not important. So there are things that come at us and it's like, it has to be handled now, but it's not necessarily important with regard to what your goals are. So, but those things, we end up handling those a lot more, and we neglect the important things to take care of these urgent things. And then there's the not urgent and not important things, and those should just be flushed. Like, we don't have time for that kind of stuff. So, but that's kind of the way it is. And get that book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And there's some really good stuff that can help while you're deciding priorities and stuff like that. So, Ryan, do you have anything you could add to that?
Yeah, I suppose. I think, as much as it's important, we are called to help people. Mm-hmm. And, people, relationships is one of the most important things in life. It's also important to remember that people are going to be solving their problems on their own. Mm. People will either figure it out with you or without you, or they won't figure it out whether you help or you don't. Sometimes it's because you help that they figure it out. That is true. But a lot of times people figure it out on their own, maybe well after you've already said what you need to say. What I mean is, here's an example. I've met people in the past where I spent hours and hours trying to help them, and I've said all that I could say. And in the end, they did not change at all. But several years later, they had changed. They changed their perspective. They were different people. And they said that it was in part because of the things that I told them, but it wasn't immediate. Ultimately, what I'm saying is there are some times where you've done all you can do. And though the situation is dire, like maybe that person is depressed and it seems like they're going to commit suicide, that sort of thing, you're just spending time with them. I mean, that's important. It's obviously important, but helping them sometimes doesn't actually come from being with them all the time, but allowing them the time to grow themselves. And so just try to keep that in mind. You know, sometimes you've already said everything you could say, and then you're at a point where you're just trying to prevent them from doing something bad. And I get that, you know, continue to do that. But if you can find a way to refer them to another person, help them make friends, etc., involve them in a community, that'll get them spread out across several people rather than you alone.
Bring them to Don't Worry Wednesday.
There you go. And people, people help themselves. Sometimes people have a question for you. Sometimes they need your help, and in truth, they don't really need it. They're just looking for it because it's a lot easier in life to do things with other people or to rely on other people. But sometimes what we need is to not rely on people. What we need is our own strength and to grow. And so we have to face the challenge alone. So one thing is that we're called to help and we're supposed to help when we can, but don't ever feel bad about the times that you couldn't. Time is time and you only have so much of it. And you have a lot of things that you need to do. God, for example, is not going to be mad at you for what you couldn't do because you couldn't. Don't beat yourself up over, I should have spent more time with this person, helping this person, etc. It's a pointless avenue. You can't change the past, and nor do you want to. And so it's important to keep that in mind. Don't beat yourself up over who you can't help for not having enough time to help people. It's just how life is. You can maybe find more efficient ways of helping people verbally or whatever. So a lot of times when someone wants help, a lot of times what they really want is to maybe get something off their chest or talk a little while. But excuse me. Sometimes, it's actually like, hey, can you help me move these presents from this room to this other room or something, that's kind of physical help. But anyways, any way that you help somebody, there's an efficiency, as Joe was talking about, that you can utilize. There's fast ways to get to the point or to help somebody through something, and get them to a point where it's like, okay, I get it. I've seen, we've said all we could say. There's nothing more we can do here, and be able to move on to the next task. It's not easy, and sometimes it's just a matter of spending some time with them. But are you making that time that you're spending with them efficient? Are they feeling like they're being spent time with? Are they feeling what they need to feel, through what you are giving them? And so these are things that you can be thinking about while you're attempting to help somebody. You can lessen the amount of time it takes to help somebody, but helping them just as much, by leading the conversation, or deciding how how exactly you want to go about helping them, like, playing a game with them, but only limiting it to certain types of games or a certain amount, just to spend time with them to help them feel like they have somebody in their life that cares for them, or whatever it is. But yeah, it can be so easy to get overwhelmed and not have enough time in the day. But as I said before, remember, people have these problems to be solved, but they have them for their own sake, not for your sake. Um, and it's not your responsibility. It's your calling, but it's not your responsibility to help them. You're meant to help them, that is very good, but it is ultimately up to them whether they are actually even helped by what you say, by what you do. And so keep in mind, people are on their own going to help themselves when they're willing to help themselves. And being a crutch, as much as I have been for other people, I can tell you that sometimes taking that crutch away is what helps the person the most. But again, sometimes it's because you were there for them during the times that you were, that they were able to get through and that they were able to grow. So I can't tell you what's going to be what, but I can tell you that God makes good of all things that you do. So just do what you can and don't ever regret what you couldn't. Do what you can, because we know that you're doing what you can. God will make good of it, the best of it that he can. So you can only do what you can do. Don't stress yourself out or beat yourself up or anything over what you can't. So yeah. And
I tell you sorry, Ryan.
No, please go.
One of the best things that I've found to do, and especially for someone who's going through some challenges, emotionally, or maybe it's financially, or maybe there's just a whole lot on their plate and they're stressed out about it. Maybe it's with school. It could be any number of things. This point was just driven home to me in actually a few different books that I've read. And that is the importance of physical exercise, even if it's not strenuous, even if it's just you go for a walk or a jog or something like that. Just, one guy is like, the best thing you can do is get up early and exercise first thing. And, and quite honestly, he's right. And I hate the fact that he's right, because I hate getting up in the morning. But since I started getting up early and first thing in the morning and exercising, my day goes so much better. And my amount of mental clarity to solve all these issues that are on my plate has gone way up. And, to help with priorities and all this kind of stuff. But here's another thing to do. When you go and exercise, it was funny sidebar. This is a quote from one of the books. This person, or actually it was just a talk he gave, but he he said, my buddy, he's become my mentor. Now he's my business partner. He says to me, I had been on top. I had a new home. I had all this trappings of success. I was making really good money. And then the economy changed and I lost half my clients overnight. And so half my income was gone. And I was like, my house was going into foreclosure. I had all these different challenges. I could barely buy food, because we were scraping so hard, and it was so painful and so stressful and so hard. And I called my buddy, and he said, "Hey, are you exercising?" It's like, no, I don't have time for that. I'm trying to get my stuff together. He's like, if you're not exercising, there's not much I can do for you. I mean, just do it. Okay. Do it for a week. Not much is going to change for you in a week. You're still going to be, whatever, but start doing that, even just for a day. Just tomorrow, go for a run. But I hate running. What do you hate more? Do you hate running or do you hate the situation you're in? Which do you hate more? He said, yeah, the situation I'm in. He's like, that's a really good friend because he called me out on it. And he said, look, this is, you got this problem, these things you're facing, or running. Which one do you hate more? He said, well, I hate the situation. And he's like, okay, we'll go for a run tomorrow and listen to something positive. So he didn't say this, but I will tell you, put on the Criminal Idol series on YouTube Music or on, or whatever you can listen to. So it's just YouTube, I think now.
Yeah, he said this part. I'm just kidding.
He should have. I don't think he knew about it at the time he did this talk, but because it might not have existed yet.
Nah, probably not.
But listen to the Criminal Idol series while you run. I know that I have listened to the Criminal Idol series when I've exercised, and my exercise has gone way better, and I've felt way better at the end of it. And this speaker, this author, he said, in that 7 minutes of running, 7 minutes, I gained more clarity and more peace of mind about my situation than I had had for the entire previous 6 months of not exercising and doing that stuff. In that one little 7-minute segment of time, he gained more clarity, more focus, and more peace of mind than the previous 6 months. And it was because of that. Because, there's something about exercise that gets our blood pumping. It gets blood flow to our brain. Everything kind of goes. And we feel more confident as a result of that, too. We're more able to take on the world's challenges. Now, for someone who's depressed, that is so hard. Because when we're depressed, all we want to do is lay there. We just want to lay there and cover up and pull the covers over our head and do nothing. And that's the absolute worst thing we can do. If you can help one of your friends who's going through a challenge, if you can help them, just say, hey, you know what? Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a walk and talk about it. Wow. So then you're doing something, and then they can start getting some of this stuff out. If you have time, if you're making time to exercise, maybe that's a good thing to invite one of your friends who's having some trouble. Hey, you know what? I'm going for a walk or I'm going for a jog. You want to come with me and we'll talk?
Mm-hmm.
That will help them get, then they can, come alongside you, and that blood flow, that extra blood flow to the brain, and that extra confidence, their spirit will be lifted as a result of that. Now, if you work them too hard, they're going to be sore the next day, and then they're gonna hate it. So you don't necessarily need to start off like going hardcore, but just walking or light jogging or something that gets motion going.
That's why I always walk when I'm on the phone.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Are you a pacer?
I'm totally a pacer.
Yeah, me too. The only time I don't pace when I'm on the phone is when I'm driving.
Yeah, same. Because you can't really pace in the car.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I walk around a giant circle or something, and then like at the end of my 4-hour conversation, I'm like, oh my gosh, my legs are tired.
Uh-huh.
What happened?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And the next day after you work out, it's like, man, my backside really hurts. What the heck? Oh yeah, I did all that exercise the other day. Oh, dang it.
Yeah, it helps. I would agree with that. If the first thing I do in the morning is something productive, it sets everything up for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
If the first thing I do in the morning is recreational, if it's even just something as simple as taking the lazy way out of breakfast and eating something that's already made. Even if it's just getting that cup of coffee in the morning and sitting there drinking it. If I do that as my first thing in the morning, I've set myself up for failure, because what I've done is you know, I've started out the day going, oh, I can do that later. Oh, I can do that later. Oh, I can do that later. And then the whole day goes like that, you know. But if I set myself up with something that's actually productive, then it begins this momentum that I can continue with, right? It starts the ball rolling, and then I can just continue with the momentum, getting things done throughout the day. And I never have that position where I'm stuck in this spot where I'm doing something recreational or something that's not driving me anywhere, you know. And you know, as physics go, when the ball's not rolling, that's the hardest time to make it move. You know, even if it's moving backwards, at least you can move it the other way pretty easy. So, yes. But also, I think, but the exercise, I think that's pretty good too, because not that I've done it, but I think it's a really good idea, because what you do is you seclude yourself in a position where you're forced to have time to think to yourself about stuff. And so not only are you doing something productive, and moving your body around and getting everything moving.
I'm listening to the Criminal Idol series.
You have an addition of reflection time, which reflection is key to a healthy life. I'll tell you, reflection is so important. A lot of times we dodge it, especially like what you said, when we're in that state of depression. I mean, as much as we want to just lay there and do nothing, we also don't want to talk to ourselves. So we zone out and watch the TV or play on our phones or something, you know, or try to fall back asleep. But yeah.
Yes. And I would recommend this book. I would recommend, as well as 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I would recommend The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Look that one up. Hal Elrod. Yep. Hal.
Hal.
Elrod. Hal.
Kind of like that name, Hal.
Yes. I just finished that one, and man, I tell you what, there's some really, really good stuff in there. This guy studied successful people and basically boiled it down to like 6 things these people do in morning rituals. And you know, yeah, it's very concise and good. So I would definitely recommend that book too. So yeah, so I hope that's helpful. We are getting kind of late in the show.
Definitely.
I don't know if Summer asked her question, or is Summer a guy or
I think it's a male, but I could be wrong.
My goodness. It's just because I grew up with a girl named Summer, and so like it's just.
I know a girl named Summer, but I'm pretty sure this Summer is a guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Either way, their question. I don't know if their question was the Link one about Zelda, rather. Or if there was another question.
Okay. Well, there is another question. Epic Gamer 552 asked a question. And I tell you what, we're gonna do, Epic Gamer. We're gonna put this one on our website here.
We're gonna log it for you so that we can get to it next time we do this.
It's gonna be right here.
But we won't do it without you. We'll wait for you to show up, and then we'll answer the question.
Right. So I'm gonna do it right now because that's what I'm all about.
Thanks, Joe. You're awesome.
Yes. Epic Gamer.
Oh, see you, Sophia. You're probably already gone, but bye-bye.
Boom. There it is. I think it's more whoop. There it is.
Whoop. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
So yes, now it's there.
Joseph.
Huh?
What have you done? Joseph Bohan did something to Rack Attack. I don't know. I don't think it was on purpose, but
Rack
just got destroyed.
Rack Attack was timed out by Joseph Bohan for 300 seconds.
Oof. Sorry.
What?
Joseph says sorry.
Did we make you a moderator?
Oh no.
You know, it's a phone glitch. Okay. Now, see, it's funny because on bss.studio, our website, where Jesse, not only is Jesse our producer on this show, but he's also our system administrator on our website. And Joseph Bohan found a way to banish Jesse on one of the forums.
Nice.
Like, this is the system administrator, like, and he banished him. Like, like
That's great.
it was so funny. Like, and it's not. It was all in fun and games. Like, I gotta tell you, he goes by Slightly Above Average Joe on BSS.studio, and man, this is one of the high quality individuals that we have in our community at BSS.studio. I mean, he does a stream on Twitch every Tuesday called Take It Easy Tuesday. Somebody post the link. Do we have the link for that? I'll get it. I know I can get it. We'll see who gets it first.
No, it's
who's gonna get it first? Who's gonna get it first? I don't know. Who's gonna post the Take It Easy Tuesday link first? Is it gonna be me?
It's gonna be you.
It's gonna be me. Oh no, that's not it. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. There is, I think, a moth in your.
there is actually. I can see him.
Yeah.
Oh, Princess got to it before
Princess me. Wins.
I have a moth, which is better than a cricket. See, the thing is there's some construction going on just like over there, about 15 feet away.
Oh.
And so they don't quite have all of everything put together yet. And so last time there was a cricket.
Yes. Luckily, this time it's not a cricket. It's a moth.
Yes. Now it's just a moth flying around my head. And if I didn't have this spectacular webcam that shows me in immaculate high
wouldn't be able to see it.
Would not be able to see it. But because
Joseph,
I have the Logitech C922X or whatever the heck that is.
Yeah, I think we both have the same one now, right?
Maybe, yeah.
So, Joseph, is it Joseph Bohan or Bowen? Or Bohan?
Or Bohan.
Like, you can tell it.
Type out how it's pronounced.
Yeah, and then he's going to write it exactly as it is. It's like, oh, okay, got it.
Yes.
Yeah. Static, how do you come up with
bow? Is that bow or bow? Like a bow and arrow?
Bow, or bow. B-O-W.
I'm pretty sure it's. I would imagine it's not bow.
Bow, but the question about what is a bow? Han or Han or N? Like the H is silent. Bowen. Bohan.
Yeah, because I always pronounce it Bohan. So if I've been bow and arrow. Yep, bow and arrow. Okay, bow. And is it like Han Solo?
Maybe it's bow and arrow, like Bowen.
Bow, like Mr. Bojangles. Yeah. Han, like in hand. Bohan.
Oh, okay. Wait, no. I pronounce that hand. I have 5 fingers on my hand.
Pronounce that hand.
Yeah. Check out my left hand.
My right hand.
This is my left hand. This is my right hand. Hand. I didn't say hand. No.
There it is. You did. And we got another question.
Oh wow.
Cinder the cat.
Well, we'll have to put that in the forums too. And Cinder the cat.
Man,
if you next time. Oh, Jesse's got it. Thanks, Jesse.
Jesse, our producer, the amazing Jesse. And now for a word from our sponsor. Brian, you are sponsoring the show.
Oh. Our word of the day?
No, word from our sponsor. Word from the day is from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Oh, no, what?
That's the secret word.
Oh, that's the secret word. No, word of the day is Sesame Street. No, that's letter of the day. There's no word of the day on any of these programs. Is there?
There's a word of the day somewhere.
This might be Sesame Street. Okay, so a word from our sponsor, lemon poppy seed muffins are good.
That sounds great. That's more than
But they're even better if you put them in your mouth. You should try sometime.
And chew them.
What? No, you just put them in your mouth and let them sit there.
Oh,
forever. No, yeah.
It seems like after a while that'd get kind of raunchy.
Eventually, it would disintegrate into nothing. Eventually, it would just slide down your throat as if it didn't exist. Okay, yes. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, so
Cinder the Cat. Oh, and Benny G asks you, Static, how do you come up with your beats and music?
I just experiment a bit. Sometimes I get an idea, something pops into my head. If you're talking about the drum beats, or if you're talking about all of it, I think a lot of people call beats music now. Beats is what they consider everything in the background outside of the vocals. I think. I don't really know the definition of beats by what people are trying to say when they say beats, but music in general, I can answer. Yes. How do I come up with my music? Lots of different things. Sometimes just inspiration from other songs that I hear, or I have a specific message that I want to portray, and how am I going to do that the best with what kind of style of music, what kind of instruments should I use? There's all sorts of different things that comes into making the music, and it comes from all sorts of different avenues and so on. I think the biggest thing is just experimentation, getting an idea and playing with it, and then moving on from there. And sometimes if you don't have an idea, you start with I just start with chunking around on the piano until something comes out that I'm like, oh, I like that. Or I start singing something. I start making up something on the spot with my voice. And then once I find something, I'm like, oh, that sounds really good. I'm going to record that real quick with my phone or whatever's around me. So experimentation is a lot of it. Just trying things.
And I have to tell you one thing that, probably all of you have noticed. Maybe you've heard it without noticing, but when it comes to the beats, the drum parts of the Static P songs, there is so much attention to dynamic detail in the drums. And do you do that with the velocities?
Velocities, yeah.
So like paying close attention to velocities makes it an extremely musical drum part, which is difficult, because it's time consuming. And I don't know. I mean, Ryan seems to do it really fast now, but I just remember like that's one of the most impressive things about a Static P song to me is the amount of detail in the dynamics of the drum beats. Because I'm like, he really makes them sound like it's a real drummer. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing to me that amount of detail, partly because that's like my primary instrument is drums, and so I always I'm just like I'm not gonna sit there and program a drum part. I'm just gonna go play it,
right? Which is better anyways, but
I can't play half the stuff you write.
Yes, and that's pretty impossible.
But you make it sound like a real drummer, which is amazing. So I just gotta give you some props.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Joe.
But yeah, so we are definitely
at the end
where we got to do the end of the show. So thank you guys for coming and for asking your questions. And
thank you so much.
And yes, the folks there at the end, Cinder the Cat, and who was the other one? Epic Gamer 552. Your questions have been put on the website, and we will get to them next time.
So please,
are we planning on doing this Friday as well?
I'm not sure. I mean, that's mostly, I think, up to you. If you're free for Friday, I'm free for Friday, and we can do that. If not, then so we might be doing this on Friday. If not, we'll be doing this next Wednesday at the same time, 2 hours earlier from now until about now. So
yeah, right around 7-ish.
Right around 7-ish. Yeah, we started a little late today, but yeah.
Yep, but hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you've already hit the notification bell, don't hit it again and turn it off. But
make sure the notification bell is on. That way, when we do stream, you guys can know, and that and so that you can show up and get your questions answered or your, concerns confronted and just whatever.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And again, just a reminder, we're not professionals. We just want to be your friend. We just want to help in any way we can. But we're not a substitute for a professional. There are cases when you need a professional, and we just want to help encourage you on your journey, as you figure these out, because, life's tough, and sometimes you just need a friend. And that's what we hope we can be for you. So thanks again for coming. And I hope to see you next time. And again, we thank Jesse, our wonderful producer.
Yes.
And all of you for your questions and your input, and the chat that was hugely active tonight. You guys are absolutely amazing.
You guys are awesome.
Go to bss.studio, check it out. You guys, we love you all.
We love you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.